Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about how to increase client retention as an online fitness coach. Okay, so we're going to jump right in, talk about my major strategies of what I use to have I think it was like a 7 or 8 month client lifetime as an online coach, which at my price point was very, very good for my business. Okay, and how you can implement those strategies into your business to increase your client retention literally overnight. A lot of these things that I'm going to talk to you about are not major setups. They're not huge overhauls of your business. They're things that you can implement very, very quickly in order to make sure that your clients stay as long as possible. So the first thing I do want to discuss is how important client retention is to your business on a couple of different levels, all right? So the first reason is that the longer clients stay with you, the better results they're going to get. Okay, that should be a given. But as an online fitness coach, it's really, really important to be able to keep your clients long enough for them to get a really good result. I appreciate that some people can get really good results in 90 days, but if you want those standout, jaw-dropping, like absolute A to B, huge transformation results, some of my best ever results with clients came around the 6 to 8 month mark because they were able to go through an initial dieting phase and clean up a lot of body fat. They were able to actually kind of go through and rebuild some strength and some muscle. A lot of people that come to you will have previously kind of had muscle and been detrained and stuff like that. So getting a good kind of 4 months of that process in, building up the calories, getting them in a really good position to diet again, and then finally giving them that final diet to kind of come from a really good starting point, drop them right down, get as much body fat off as possible, okay? That for me used to take 6 to 8 months for a good client to take them through that whole thing, that kind of 6 to 8 week setup, a good rebuild phase of building the calories back up and getting them in the optimal position to diet, and then a proper diet right down into like really low levels of body fat. So if the clients don't stay for long enough to get that done, and you don't build a program that will keep people in for that long, unfortunately, you're only really going to get very short-term results, and they're not the ones that are going to make people's jaws hit the floor. Remember, if your average lifetime value of your clients is 6 to 8 months, then a good chunk of clients are going to be staying for well over a year. Some clients are going to leave after 90 days, and that's fine. But your average lifetime needs to be as long as possible for people to spend as long as possible on their fitness journey with you and get the best results. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that as you scale a business, keeping clients is cheaper than getting new ones, okay? When you think about how you acquire new customers, you've got ads to run, you've got salespeople to pay, okay? You've got all these additional little costs of getting a new customer that then say that customer re-signs for the exact same time frame for the exact same price. You've just doubled the value of that customer while keeping your costs essentially the same. So from a business economic standpoint, re-signs are actually more valuable for you than initial sales because they are higher profit. And that's something that as you scale and as you start to take costs into your company, that is something that you've got to be really, really, really careful of doing, is you don't want to become this front-end sales machine with no back-end profitability, because that can leave your margins quite tight. And the third thing is building community around your program, okay? Having a really solid, close-knit community, a good vibe, a tribe of people that want to be around you and want to be around each other is so, so important. However, if you don't have those long-standing members of community, if you don't have those clients that have been with you for ages that build the culture of your business, then it's a struggle. If you're replacing clients every 3 months, it's hard to build a community because they don't get long enough to spend with each other, to get to know each other, and it's something that actually makes your job harder dealing with each individual person singularly, as opposed to having a community that can kind of help you out in the background. Also, really short-term clients don't usually refer, and they don't usually leave testimonials and reviews. It's your longer-term clients that leave the testimonials, that leave the reviews, that refer people into your program. So again, these are all cheap, cost-effective ways of generating new clients just by keeping clients and getting them to do the basics for you. Okay, so that's why client retention is so important, okay, and why you should be looking to maximize that as much as possible. So going into my ways of actually doing this, I've tried lots of different things to improve client retention, okay? I've put some time into things that maybe didn't work out so well, but I've developed 3 things that I think are the biggest factors in improving long-term client retention, okay? And the first one is road mapping your clients' results. So what do I mean by road mapping your clients' results? Road mapping your clients' results means, like I spoke about earlier in the video, when you build that journey of their transformation, when you say, look, we're going to spend the first few weeks doing this, we're going to spend the next few months doing this, and then finally we're going to do this, and this is going to give us the outcome. Building that journey instead of it just being an arbitrary, like, right, we're going to diet for 90 days and then you should be there. Building that journey and building that timeline and almost looking at their physique development like a project and their fat loss like a project that you have to manage and anticipate timelines and all of that stuff is a massive, massive thing for client retention. And I used to do something called a client roadmap, which is where the name for this came from, where when somebody started with me on their initial onboarding call, I would map out their next 6 months, sometimes even a year, because after they'd signed up for my 90-day program, we knew generally that the result was going to take longer than that they needed longer than that to get the physique that they really wanted. And I used to just map that process out with them. So I'd start with their major milestones throughout the year. Okay, so I would look at when they've got holidays coming up, when they've got particularly work events, when they've got birthdays, when they've got maybe religious holidays or weddings or things like that. And I would build out their calendar first of the things that they found really important. Then what I would do would I build their phases around that. Okay, so there would be time periods where we'd be in a diet, and I would make sure that, you know, the heavier diet sections would be around those places with like lower social events. And then I would have more maintenance phases or even building phases in times where they would want more calories, things like holidays and Christmas and things like that. So they could see an overall plan of what they were going to do. Now, it's my job to help them navigate through that plan and hold them accountable to it. But when people saw that they had a long-term area of progression and I could talk to them about the benefits and the results of each one of those areas, they stayed for much longer. Okay. And I tested this between clients where I didn't do that and clients when I did. And the clients where I did roadmap would usually the ones that would stay for like 9 months plus. The ones that I didn't would be the ones that finished at the end of the 90 days thinking, well, that's us done now because I don't really know what the next steps are. Okay. And every time I implement the roadmap with a client, if they do it and they review the roadmap with the client on a monthly basis to make sure that it's being adapted and being changed depending on the results that you get in, their client retention has always improved. It is never, ever failed to improve client retention. Okay. So it's something that I would massively consider doing right away. If you've got online fitness clients, is building out that long-term journey with them and mapping out what their next 6 to 12 months looks like. The second thing I would do if I was looking to improve retention is building client challenges throughout the year. Okay, so these are periods where, as a collective, like let's say you work with clients in the UK, the seasonal changes are going to be very similar. Okay, so you're going to have clients that want to do a big push in January. You're going to have this big push pre-summer, and you're going to have this big push in autumn, like, you know, pre-Christmas kind of vibe. And this is your 3 hotspots for really driving business. I would always recommend setting targets and goals for each one of those clients, okay, that are coming in, and I would re-sign them based on those goals. So for example, if I was doing a big push in January and I was going to do like, right, we're going to get you in the best shape of your life in 12 weeks, I would look at all of my clients that were due to finish within that area. And I would say, look, this is what I think we should do. I think we should jump on this challenge with the rest of the clients. I think it would be good to set you a target, because people don't stay if they don't have goals. If people lose sight of what the goal is, or the goal becomes too long-term for them, they will disengage from a coaching program. So having these points throughout the year where you can refocus people on a set date and a set time frame are really good at driving client retention. And it works well with their kind of own psyche of them wanting to do things, because everyone will have a big push in January. Everyone will have a big burst of motivation pre-summer, and everyone will have that kind of post-summer burst of motivation as well when they want to get back on it. So I would always make sure that internally I take advantage of those things by planning in kind of client challenges. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, like you don't have to do a photo shoot and stuff like that, but using the community and using that collective drive together really works well at setting goals and targets. The final thing I would always recommend to improve client retention is do not forget, just because your clients have been with you for a while doesn't mean that they don't still need the same level of detail and accountability within their plans. Okay. What I see a lot of coaches do is they fall off on the levels of accountability that they give to their clients. And what happens is, unknown to them, the clients slowly get less and less adherent to the program as you pull away the levels of accountability. And then they will end up kind of moseying along, doing okay, but they won't be really getting the benefit of paying for a one-to-one coach, and they will then just naturally disengage from the program. You have to understand that it takes multiple years for fitness and nutrition to be a handleable priority amongst other things in their life. When you work with clients as a personal trainer, you have to accept that health, training, fitness, nutrition will probably never be the first thing that somebody thinks about. They will always put work, family, social life first, and that's okay, because it's your job as a coach and a trainer to hold them accountable to the fitness side that they're probably not naturally going to do. And what happens is coaches feel like their clients know what to do now and forget that most people know what to do when they sign up to a personal trainer. It's the accountability and holding someone to the plan and the goals that people really pay for. And if you start to dwindle that as people stay in the program longer, the only thing you're going to do is kind of leave it up to education. People aren't going to stay into a program for education because it's very easy to teach someone the basics of training and nutrition. And then really, when you take away the accountability, they don't really have any reason to stay. So the final thing that I would do is just make sure you maintain the same level of accountability and the same level of expectation of your clients, no matter how long they've been with you. And even that small tweak of just thinking it that way and framing yourself that way will make a massive difference in the length of time that clients stay with you, because they will be getting value from you for longer and they will be reaching bigger and bigger goals because they're being held accountable to them. So hopefully that was useful. In summary, make sure you are road mapping your clients' results over a 6 to 12 month period. Make sure you use the natural tendencies of your audience to drive challenges and focus points and set goals throughout periods of the year. And finally, don't ever slack on your clients' accountability and support, because that is the thing that they're really paying for when it comes down to it. Hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any other questions about client retention, just drop it in the comments and I'll see you next time.